Hey, wine mermaids. This is the Peace, Love, and Wine podcast, bringing you happy hour conversations with awesome women on self-care, sisterhood, and creative living to reduce stress and maximize joy. Life is short, so grab a glass and get ready to sip, sparkle, and make a splash. Make sure to visit peaceloveandwine.com and enter your email to receive VIP deals and get your free self-care download. Now, here's your wine sister hostess with the mostest, Tiffany Humfeld.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is Tiffany, and I am so happy that I finally get to be joined today by Meg Faye. Or am I supposed to call you by your muggle name?
No, my burlesque name is Pearl Necklace.
Okay. Do we need to edit that out?
No, we can keep it. That's fine.
Okay. If people want to find you on Instagram, it's spelled a little differently. Right?
Yeah, it's MX Pearl Necklace.
Okay. Spelled out Pearl Necklace?
Pearl Necklace.
Okay. And you are a burlesque performer.
I am.
What's exciting. I globbed on you as soon as I found out.
It happens.
You're like, oh, another noob. Someone who's just discovered the magic and wonder.
It is magical and wondrous, yes.
Tell me how you discovered it and felt that feeling for the first time.
Well, I have been in theater and choir and musical theater basically all my life. I've been singing since I was 4. I went to a burlesque show in Phoenix when I was living there, and they mentioned classes, and I was really because at the time I wasn't in a choir or anything, so I was really missing that creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So I took classes and did my first show and never looked back, and it's been 7 years now.
Mm. How many classes did you take before you debuted?
It was a 6-week course.
Okay, mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So we learned history of burlesque and basic choreography, stage presence, stuff like that.
Neat.
Yeah.
Where did you say you heard about it, though? You said you went to a show?
Uh-huh. I went to a show, and the producer of the show is the one that had the school.
Okay.
So she announced that she had classes starting actually the next day. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went the next day and started my 6 weeks. And Pearl Necklace was born.
I just found out last night that there's one that starts on Saturday and that's 6 weeks with a performance opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And since San Diego, it would take a couple hours for me to get there.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot, but it was super reasonably priced from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if what I want to do is perform before the end of the year, and they're basically saying, we'll teach you stuff and let you do that.
Right.
It might be worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
The first one.
I mean, it's always worth it to go through the classes and learn as much as you can and have that experience on stage, because it's completely different than people think it might be.
Yeah. Okay, so when you saw it, though, and what was the thing that made you go, oh, I have to do that thing, and then inquire about it?
Sparkly costumes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Feeling, yeah.
I mean, that's about it. There was a very 1950s aesthetic, which I was really into at the time.
Your glasses that you have today are very 50s,
sparkly,
60s with sparkly rims.
I throw it in there every once in a while. I don't really do victory rolls or wear all the stuff anymore, but
you're wearing a pearl necklace right now.
I am wearing a pearl necklace right now. It's my staple. I just really liked the aesthetic and the vibe, and
and you said you had been missing the creative
part of you,
so.
And I was like, oh, stage?
This might be the thing.
Oh, an audience? Okay. I'm going to do this.
So, okay, you called her up, and then tell me, though, what was the experience of that show? What did the burlesque has shifted a lot over the years, right? Since it first started long time ago. Mm-hmm. But what was the makeup, I guess, of the troupe, right? What did they look like? What kind of music did they perform to?
It was a lot of older music, a lot of classic burlesque kind of songs.
Okay.
There was a little bit of comedy thrown in, a little bit of sideshow, which I learned some of from my friend Parker South. Shout out to him. Mm-hmm. He taught me how to do bed of nails and how to eat fire and do other stuff with fire. So, I mean, it's really just a combination of really cool performers that I could tell we're having a blast.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was the most important part to me is, I love being on stage, but I've always been on stage in a very kind kind of rigid way. And I was always in a choir, or I was
somebody
in
tells
a
you
play.
where to be, what to do, how to sound.
And having that freedom to like go out there and have a lot of fun with the audience and shake your ass and, you know, basically do whatever you want, is really, wonderful. And it's really liberating. So I felt that I needed that at that point in my life. And I found that through burlesque.
I feel like I envision that there is this like silly but like spiritual soul transformation that happens through the burlesque process of like, or falling in love with yourself in a way.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm both terrified and totally excited about.
It's tough. It's not, falling in love with yourself is not an easy thing to do, nor is, you know,
taking your clothes off in front of a bunch of people you don't know.
I don't have issues with that, but I am kind of an exhibitionist a little bit. So, I mean, it works for me. But finding that confidence and really being able to ignore everything that's going on around you is really the most important part. And I mean, like, hooting and hollering crowds are amazing, and they pump you up and they get your blood going, and the next thing you know, you don't actually remember performing.
Right.
Which happens a lot. I always tell people, you know, like, don't introduce yourself to me after a show, because I will literally never remember your name.
Okay.
Because you have so much adrenaline going, and you shift into this completely other different personality when you're performing, that it's just, it's unlike anything you'll ever experience in your life. And it really makes you thankful for everything that you've had up until that point. You know, like, every insecurity that you've had, you now know isn't something to be insecure about. And so you acknowledge that, and you thank your past self for caring about your body. And without, you know, bringing the fact that you hated parts of your, I mean, that's still care. It's not positive reinforced care, but it's still care of your body. So, you know, you become like thankful. Like, I was a really shy, like, I still am. I'm really, really shy. I'm really soft spoken when I'm around people that I don't know. And I'm thankful to have that part of my personality and to have Pearl, because Pearl lets me come out of my shell.
Yes.
To a point where partners, I would actually ask them, you know, if we were going to a place that I didn't know, or we were going to a party with lots of people that I didn't know, I would have them introduce me as Pearl.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I would have them introduce me as Pearl, because Pearl is this completely different person than Meg is, for better or for worse.
And sometimes that depends on the day.
Sometimes it depends. But it's really an incredible transformation, and it's worth every minute and every drop of blood and every tear, because there will be blood. There's always blood.
Well, good thing this will probably be airing around Halloween, so that'll be more palatable for people to hear.
We'll make a spoopy interview. That'll be great.
Define that, because I had to look it up the first time I heard it.
Spoopy? It's like spooky and cute at the same time. It's like a cat with vampire, like a little baby kitten with vampire teeth. Like, it's so cute, but it will also bite me and make me a vampire, so it's spoopy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's such a spoopy word.
Yeah, it's spoopy. It's pretty great.
I use circusy that way to define things that are fun or colorful or interesting or like wild and crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it comes from some of my other proclivities as well. But I've always been one to like give things nicknames or...
Me too.
Yeah, always. 100%. So it's something that I've always done. My sister and I used to like make up names for, like, Olive Garden was just the OG. So So, we would pass an Olive Garden and we'd be like, oh, it's the OG. And like my sister and I would always do this. So it's something I still do to this day.
Funny. And then everybody else, whoever was involved in the inside joke is like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Or like you're driving in the car and you pass an OG and you're like, oh, it's the OG. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
And then they're like, the OG what?
Like, where do you get your drugs and where can I get some?
Don't tell them out loud. All right. So we fell in love with Burlesque.
Mm-hmm.
And asked about it, and fortune would have it that the classes started the next day. And take me through, what was a series of classes like? What did you learn each week? Were you learning a routine the whole time that you were putting together as a group, or was it a solo thing you were putting together in your character? How did that go?
Both.
Okay.
So our very first class, maybe 2 classes, I don't really remember at this point, was basically just history of burlesque. Because, to do something well, you have to know your roots. And going through original burlesque and then the shutdown of burlesque and then the burlesque revival. And we, researched performers from those times and watched as many videos as we could because all of us were just like hungry for that knowledge.
Where did you find those videos, by the way? Because I've been like taking my notes of who I want to research, and now is where do I find them?
I mean, there's some people release videos and some people don't. Some people don't have a choice because, people that are famous like Dirty Martini, she's in so many. It just ends up on the internet. So really you just have to know who you're looking for. Mm-hmm.
But what about some of the older ones? Like some of the actual,
some of the older ones. Mothers. Yeah, some of the older ones, there's not video because everything was so, at a certain point, everything was so hush-hush. That it was almost like prohibition.
Also, it could have been even technologically speaking, like too early. Because some of them were like in the 1800s, I heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah, right? I mean, you're going to be able to find your well-known performers, like your Tempest Storms and your, Betty Page.
What about Sally Rand, the fan lady?
You can find Sally Rand.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can either search them by their name and then put burlesque behind it, or I'm pretty sure that there's a resource out there that has older burlesque videos, and I'll have to look up the link.
That would be cool if there was one resource you could go to.
I think there is.
Also, you were telling me about how to look up to see if your burlesque name is taken.
Yes.
And how to claim your name.
Yes. So Red Hot Annie in Chicago has a website where you can register your burlesque name, which is really useful. It's kind of like roller derby girls. They all kind of take their people that do roller derby, not just girls. Right. They have a website where they all kind of categorize their names because you're not supposed to have the same name as somebody else. Your name is your brand. Mm-hmm. And if I am fighting for bookings with another pearl necklace,
that's confusing.
That would be very confusing. Yeah. And in building your brand, you want that recognition. So you want people to be able to say, oh, that's pearl necklace, without being confused as to which pearl necklace you are.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Red Hot Annie has a website where you can register your location and your burlesque name. And that way, it's a really good guide for people to see where other people are kind of stationed out of. And it's also a good guide if you are a beginning burlesquer and you are making sure that you have not taken anybody else's name.
I'm not finding the site when I'm looking at redhotannie.com. Does this do a workshop walkthrough right here? Do you see
that's
anything
weird.
That looks like?
Go ahead and Google burlesque directory.
Okay, that's a good thing. I'm really bad at knowing what to Google sometimes.
Oh, I have Google Foo. Like,
awesome. I need you in my life. Oh, let's see. One of these.
Oh, yeah.
Performers. This one, Red Hot Annie's.
Yep. And then Pochop also does a directory of Black burlesque performers, which is really great, too.
Okay. So this is actually posted on sheolay.com. She mentions the Red Hot Annie. So let's see if when we click on her link, if it takes us to the right page.
It may have been decommissioned because that's Pochop's. That's for Black burlesque performers. She may have decommissioned it. But there is also the Burlesquepedia. Okay. And that's at burlesquebitch.com.
Awesome.
I love it. I love it so much.
Let's talk about glitter.
Okay.
For a minute. So
it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Okay. As it does many people, including a lot of guys who
yes.
are like, that stuff will never come out of anywhere. Don't let anybody in my house. You know, who's had it.
I'm pretty sure I still find glitter on my dog, and I haven't actually performed in over a year. I'll randomly find glitter around the house. A PSA, if everybody could stop calling it the herpes of the craft world or the herpes of the burlesque world, like we're trying to destigmatize STIs and that's not helping.
I've been thinking about that lately too, because I have a friend who has a special name for them that I won't repeat right now. But it's funny until you realize, like, okay, that's not very nice.
Until it's not very funny.
Yeah. Or it's not very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But if everybody could stop doing that, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. You learn in burlesque that you either love glitter or you hate it.
You learn real fast.
You learn, yeah, you really do. The first time you try and make a costume that involves a lot of glittered tulle, you will just like hate glitter for the rest of your life.
The glittered tulle sounds like the material of my dreams.
It sounds wonderful. Mm-hmm. It is not. Sometimes you get like that really chunky glitter on it, and then it's like you get these like big pieces of glitter all around your house, and it's just especially if you have carpet.
Oh yeah, no carpet.
Yeah,
blue on carpet.
Yeah. So I always try and have a room to do stuff in which I don't have carpet.
the crafty / super burlesque glittery
yes,
stuff.
A lot of times that ends up being a kitchen floor. Or a living room floor, or outside in a patio with like a couple cans of spray paint. It becomes a lot of things because if anything, burlesque is not just a straight, I'm just going to sew this costume. There's like a lot more that goes into it, which is why my costumes are so expensive.
Yeah, talk about that.
Cries. I would say on average for a travel-worthy costume, for me, I'm looking at spending anywhere between $600 and $1,000.
My wedding dress costs less than that.
I mean, it really depends. It depends on what fabric you're using. It depends on your unders that you're choosing. It depends on whether or not you're having something made for you.
Custom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a lot of the ingenuity in burlesque comes from those custom made items where somebody comes to a seamstress and it's like, hey, I have this really crazy idea. Can we make it
like
work?
This? Yeah.
And a lot of times they can, and it's just so incredible when they can. It's amazing.
And the reason it's incredible, I think, is because that's the part of the putting your own like spark in it, putting your own flavor, and like the comedy. Like that's the part. Like the sexy plus the comedy, to me, is like what makes burlesque so hot.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't do. I don't do a whole lot of comedic burlesque because I feel like there's this expectation. Generally for fat girls to do comedy.
Okay.
And so I made a conscious effort to flip that. Mm-hmm. And so I do mostly classic, like strut and peel classic.
I noticed that from
boas and rhinestones and
who doesn't love
all that kind of, I know, right? All that kind of stuff. Because I wanted to show that beauty norms are bullshit, basically. And I always get a lot of like, oh, you're so brave going up there. Like, no, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't. You know, I've had people in audiences say things that are not very nice, and
that's not allowed.
I know, and make comments about my body, and it happens, and you have to be prepared for that as any performer. I mean, any performer, even
not to get derailed.
Yeah, like even thin body performers go through this where maybe they made a misstep and somebody makes a comment about it, or maybe they have breast implants and somebody decides to make a comment.
Right.
Like,
or maybe their breasts are naturally small.
Right,
and they don't have
right,
implants and somebody comments about
and
that.
Right. So nobody is 100% satisfied 100% of the time. So you have to kind of keep that in mind when you're starting to do burlesque, is that there will be shitty people. There will be shitty, drunk audience members. And it's just one of those things. You learn how to shake it off. You learn how to shake them off. Mm-hmm. And
can you gather the magic that they've left behind from the other people? Like the other people that are there being awesome? Can you shake it up?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times I've gone backstage and been like, this dude is being a complete asshole to me. And, you know, hear words of encouragement from other performers, or the camaraderie is really great in most of the shows that I've done. A lot of them, you know, people just kind of keep to themselves, which is fine. I like to get in the zone before I perform too. But the shows that I have the most fun at, I think, are those like
sisterhood
really
shows.
Energetic, kind of backstage, like buzzing backstage shows. My favorite festival, the Discordia Days Festival in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I was just looking at a property there.
Oh, wonderful. It's a really great troupe. This is Discordia Dames. And they have probably my favorite festival I've ever been to, really. And the backstage is always just like buzzing and full of positivity. And a lot of people know each other. And when you get, 30 performers for the night and half of them know each other and half of them want to introduce the other half to the others, and you get great performers like Poison Ivory and Kitten DeVille, and you just like get everybody backstage, and it's, everybody wants to take pictures, and you're joking and you're, talking about what you had for lunch and, stuff like, it's like totally normal stuff, except like your tits out, putting your makeup on, like that kind of thing. Those are the shows that I really love because I feed off of that energy and I soak it up like a sponge. Yeah.
And I feel like the more you soak it up and then like you just want to give it back, and the more you give it back, the more you soak it up, and it's just a lovely.
And then you go out on stage and you're just like this bright, shiny performer who has like this newfound love. Juice. Yeah. And every time I go to that festival, I come out energized, just completely energized, and like ready to tackle the next project, of which I have like 150.
Like just whatever the next project in life is, kind of thing?
Yeah, but
doing creative project.
Yeah, a bunch of creative projects. And doing burlesque for so long has kind of turned me into one of those people where I'll like listen to my Pandora and I'll put it on shuffle and a song will come on and I'll be like, oh, I could take my clothes off to this.
Right.
And so like there your idea starts and you can't stop it.
Right.
And so you have like conceptualizing.
You have 100 concepts.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that one will work. Do I have a costume that could work for that one?
Right.
Oh, am I going to have to buy I'm going to have to buy something special for that one.
I'm going to have to buy something. Yeah. I'm going to have to make this. Mm-hmm. Or like this costume piece would be a total bitch, but like I think this number would be great.
I keep going with like, but how do they get all the freaking like the props, like the furniture props there to the conferences and the festivals?
You pay somebody.
You ship it. Like couches.
Yeah, you have to ship it.
Ugh.
I know. It's so expensive.
I saw the most beautiful, most like gut and beautiful thing all at the same time that I watched yesterday. And I don't remember who she was, but she ate an entire cheese pizza.
Oh my God, I love her.
Routine.
I love her already, and I don't even know her.
I know. It was so beautiful in so many levels and so horrible on so many levels.
Yeah. Audiences love food numbers. They love food numbers.
How much do you have to work out after you do that? How many times do you rehearse?
Oh, I don't even care. Like fuck that. Also, like, I ate a cheese pizza on stage. Like, come at me, bro.
Like, drop the mic and all the cheesy pizza sauce, Like,
right?
She did an amazing job. It was like that song, like, Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. Like, one of the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or something.
Wait.
It was beautiful.
I might know who you're talking about.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
I know somebody that does an amazing Hamburglar number.
Oh, might be her.
She's out of Richmond. Her name is Ellie Quinn, and she's one of my favorite people ever. She does a lot of Nerdlesque, and it's amazing. Like, she has a Jaws number, which is friggin' amazing. She's just awesome. I'm sure you'll find it. If you watched it on YouTube, you can go through your history.
Yeah, it was probably YouTube.
Yeah.
The thing is, it was probably the one on the TV in the room, which is actually my husband's account. So every time I put stuff on there, he gets annoyed because it's circusy burlesque,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh well, it was totally worth it, and everybody should watch it. And I didn't mean to play that video. Damn it. Okay, that's what I get. Stop touching things, Tiffany. Okay.
There are just so many people who have such creative, like, numbers, and I love them all.
And they all, like, light a new fire in you.
They do. It's like, oh, I never would have thought of bringing that character to stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if they can be that weird, I can be weird. That's what goes on in my head.
My only nerd lesson, well, no, one of my only nerd lessons, my only comedy act, I do Pam Poovey from Archer when I was like,
I don't know,
bleach blonde.
Oh, was that the like tall lady with the big boobs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like in one of the seasons, it's super old, so it's no spoilers. In one of the seasons, she gets on cocaine.
Okay.
Like she does cocaine the whole season. And so I do a number as Pam to the song Cocaine by Eric Clapton. Yeah. And so it's at a certain point, I pull a little baggie of cocaine, air quotes, out of my bra. And it's just, you know, it's like, it's creative things like that. Like you could use so many different variations of that for the same character.
A girl who did one where she, I don't remember what the song was, but it was some kind of cannabis weed song. Mm-hmm. At the end, she shook her tassels, then she freaking pulled a joint right off of her tassel.
I love it. I freaking love it so much. People are so goddamn creative, and it makes me love burlesque so much because, like, they don't give a fuck. They just, like, let their freak flags fly, and, like, they go out there and they go balls to the fucking wall because
you might as well.
Yeah, because you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why should you half-ass assery?
Right.
Go full ass on assery.
As long as I'm not showing something that I shouldn't be showing or pissing off a venue by throwing glitter on their carpeted stage.
Yeah. Ooh. Don't do
don't do that.
Okay, so say when you're saying something you're not supposed to, because you're already doing what a lot of people would consider something you're not supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
Are we talking about the blue laws?
Yeah.
Okay, talk about that. What does that mean?
So a lot of states have old laws that date back to, like, Prohibition era that haven't been repealed or anything like that because, frankly, they don't care enough to do it. So certain states, you have to cover certain parts of your body. So when I started doing burlesque, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. In Arizona, you can go down to pasties and a G-string, which is normal.
It's really hot there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Getting your pasties to stick is another story.
Oh, God. Yeah. What do you use?
I use double-sided carpet tape.
Oh, God. That doesn't sound good on the nips.
I walk into Home Depot half the time in full hair and makeup, and I go buy a box of carpet tape or like a roll of carpet tape. And I'm like, just this, thanks.
And then you just fold it over itself? Or no, you said it's double-sided already?
Double-sided, yeah. So you line your pasty with it and, you know, stick it to your boobs.
Is it non-toxic?
Hold it there. I mean, technically not.
It's for showbiz,
we use a lot of shit that we shouldn't. A lot of people use, like, medical grade tape, spirit gum. Mm-hmm. Some people use eyelash glue. Which
I heard eyelash glue is painful.
It can be. I mean, people use liquid latex. Liquid latex is painful, too. Getting most of this shit off is more painful.
Yeah, that's the painful part.
Yeah.
I think I ordered some spirit gum, or at least it's in my cart on Amazon, and
I can't use it because I'm allergic to it.
Weird. What is it in it, though?
I don't know.
Spirit gum is this weird liquid stuff that you can get to stick things on you.
It's
like costumes, beards. Like prosthetic beards is kind of what it was probably invented for. Yeah, but I used it for the first time when I was a conehead for Halloween.
Oh my God.
It was the best costume ever. I was Connie the teenager.
Oh my God, yes.
And so then I got a butterfly tattoo, like a temporary tattoo, and I put it on the cone.
Oh my God.
And I had a denim jacket. It was the best.
And like a little stereo playing that soft cell song so you could just go
I remember that part. Now I have to watch it again. It's the dumbest movie.
It's so great, though.
Oh my God, it's awesome.
I love Dan Aykroyd so much. He's just so funny.
He is funny. He kind of reminds me of my dad, when my dad is funny. And also somebody told me that once, and I was like, yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm.
The only reason he reminds me of my dad is because my dad and I watch Blues Brothers a lot together. Okay. So he's very, like, that's one of those, like, things that makes me think of my dad. Yeah.
That's nice. Did you watch My Girl? I love that movie.
Probably when I was, like, 9.
Yeah.
But she dies, doesn't she? Or he?
Spoiler.
Or somebody dies?
Somebody might die.
If you haven't seen My Girl by now,
it's
not
out of
spoilers.
the statute of limitations for spoilers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess that probably came out at least 20 years ago. God, how am I so old? It's like you're not old until all of a sudden you're the age you were.
You're there.
You're there, and you're like, oh, when I was 10, 40 was like ancient. Now it's like right there. I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember when, like, basically you just thought, like, well, 60 or older, like, you're basically dead by then. Like, when you're a kid, you think that. And now you're like, that's, like, you know, not that much longer, really.
It's weird when I think about it because I feel like I just got out of college. But, like, I graduated with my bachelor's 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think about it, and it makes me so sad sometimes.
Like, where did my life go?
Right? Like, 8 years ago.
For part of it?
I know. 8 years ago, I got my master's. And it's still, like, I've got 2 more years to go, and then I can feel really bad about it.
That's awful. What is your master's in? That might help you feel bad about
it. Liberal studies.
That's my bachelor's. I was theater, and I was like, damn it, I'm not good enough. I'm going to have to just do whatever I can graduate the fastest. Oh, liberal arts. Okay, great. Minors in theater and creative writing. Yep, sounds like the right degree for me.
Yep.
You know?
I started out music ed and then realized that I'm terrible at music theory. Because I have,
it's freaking hard.
I know, and I have a geometry brain. I don't have an algebra brain. So, like, my brain can't process music theory.
Well, at least you have a math brain. I don't have a great one of those.
I'm good with, like, spatial stuff and stats, and that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Brains are weird.
Brains are weird and fascinating. In my next life, I do want to be a neuroscientist.
In my next life, I'd like to have a brain. That's basically it. I'll settle for just that.
That's funny.
Okay, so blue laws. We were on blue laws.
You talk, I'll pour.
So the weirdest blue law that I have encountered is in Tennessee. Tennessee, you cannot show any part of your butt crack. Or any part of your under boob.
What the hell constitutes under boob?
The underside of your boob.
Like, is it the side to the under?
It's like, imagine like you were holding your hands under your boobs.
It's the part that you would cup?
It's that part. Yeah, the part of your boobs you would cup. Need to be covered.
You are all hoping that we're cupping right now.
I am. I'm a visual learner.
Me too. Movement helps me learn.
Yes. So you can't show your butt crack at all, but you can show your butt cheeks.
Cheeks, but no crack.
Yeah. Cheeks, but no crack. So there's an amazing performer that makes costume pieces. Her business is called Blue Lawless. And she is on Instagram as Blue Lawless.
She specializes in... Pepperizing those parts.
She specializes in all of that. Because she's really familiar with it and is really amazing.
Women in business, if that isn't a niche, then I do not know what is.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that make everything. There's a ton of people that make pasties. I make pasties.
You make pasties?
I do. I mean, they're really easy to make yourself.
That's what the book of Burlesque says.
Right. Book, but if you pay somebody, they'll make them pretty.
I want mine pretty.
And I've bought pasties from all over the place, and they're just, each pair gets better than the other.
And so for the decoration, are you usually buying like a patch or an applique that you stick onto the pasty?
It depends. It depends on your costume. Sometimes I use the actual fabric from my costume so that it matches. And then,
what if I want wine glass pasties?
Somebody can do that for you, or you can do that yourself.
Would they have to be like the half cup kind, no stem, to like get?
You can make them stem. The stem will give you more lift.
Ow.
Yeah. I like to make big pasties because I've got big tits and they're heavy. And so I like to...
I'm with you all the way.
I like to like lift them up. Yeah. So having bigger pasties...
Does that work? Or do they act as a like anti-gravity thing?
It does work.
It never worked for me because I've been too heavy.
It works anything I've tried. A time.
Okay. Like put them on when you're not sweating.
Dry yourself off, put them on, go out your number, perform, and then they're come back, and then they're probably going to fall off.
Gosh, damn it. That's one of my fears is like breaking a law by not realizing that my nipple's hanging out.
You're fine. You would know. You would know within, a reasonable amount of time.
Like, everybody's pointing at you and like going, girlfriend.
I think at one point everybody pops a pasty, and it's just what you do. And you automatically just like hand grab the titty, and then complete your number. Okay. Because at that point you're near the end anyway, so like
you're at least a lot closer to the end than when you started.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't know. I just have a fear. I have a trick nipple. That's why I have a fear. I have a nipple insecurity on one of my nipples.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's weird.
It's not weird.
It's weird that I just admitted that on the podcast.
It's not weird.
Oh, those are fun. Oh, we're looking at the site for Blue Lawless on Instagram. Oh, super cute. Yeah, it's just all together Blue Lawless. I was seeing some that were shaped like that, and I was wondering why. They've got, like, the patch wherever the coverage needs.
It covers your underboob.
And they've got stringy bits that are, like, sexy and sleek. But it's not in the shape of any, like, panty that you would just, like, go buy.
No, you have to make them.
Yeah. I'm so bad at the making part.
I've made a lot of panties in my 7 years.
Like, tell me the process.
Well, it depends on how close to the show you are.
Well, tell me both versions.
So if you are far away enough from the show, like give it 2 or 3 weeks out from the show, and you need to make a pair of panties from scratch. You pick your fabric, you get your elastic. You either find a pattern or make a pattern. I made a pattern based off of one of my favorite pairs of underwear. So you basically like take your favorite pair of underwear, you take it apart, and you can create.
And then you draw around.
Yeah, you basically
you put it flat and you draw around.
You basically draw around it. You need to give yourself room for your seam.
That's important. You suddenly have a thong when you weren't expecting one.
Or you will just have panties all the way up your crack from forward to back.
Oh.
Not good. Not good. Not legal in most states. You cannot show your labia.
What states is it legal to show labia?
I'm not sure. I don't think I think you can get completely...
Alaska?
Yeah. No, not Alaska.
But they're too cold, so they don't do it.
I'm pretty sure you can get fully naked in parts of New York.
Oh, yeah, sluts. in the greatest way possible.
God, New York has such great burlesque, too. My favorite show in New York is actually Coney Island.
Oh, it sounded fabulous. I've only been there once, I think. But I haven't been to the show.
Good. Fancy Feast hosted this show. And
she's awesome.
Yeah, I love her. Oh. And Jo Boobs Weldon was in it. And
Jo Boobs wrote the Burlesque Guide.
She did, yes. And also...
she's been stripping for like 30 years
forever,
or something.
Yeah. Like as long as probably...
she's around 60, I think, and she's still doing it.
She's amazing.
Right? Yeah.
And she just wrote a book about the history of leopard print.
Oh.
Yeah.
I, in my heyday, had a lot of leopard print.
I still do.
It's coming back, and I wished I would have kept it.
Red leopard print polka dots.
Yes.
The 3 main pinup fabrics.
Yeah. Oh, you were so right. You were so right. By the way, speaking of fabrics, wine, pinups, and all good things burlesque and sexy, have you ever been to Solvang?
No.
Okay. It's a gorgeous little funny Dutch town.
I have heard tell of Solvang.
Yes. Okay.
I've not been there.
So, it's like 3.5 hours from LA. Easy, like, weekend thing, even if you just want to go for a night, go on Saturday morning. They have this place called Sort This Out Cellars. which is a tasting room in downtown. Downtown is like, there's like 4 people in downtown.
Right.
Right. Maybe 10 on a busy day.
Yeah. Like at one given time,
Yeah.
you can find at least 10 people there.
They're all like stomping their clogs, their Dutch clogs, and clinking glasses.
Right.
Yeah. But, where was I going with this? Okay. Sort the South Cellars is in the middle of like a little, it's not right on the main drag downtown, but it's in the shoppy, cute section. And you go in, and there's like a cute little red drum set, I think, on the stage. And you're like, oh, I wonder if anybody ever plays that. I don't know. I haven't really asked. It's a narrow bar, kind of like you would think of like Soda Jerk, like old pharmacy where they have soda pop and ice cream, right? It's got like the round red circle seats, right? And it's so lovely in like November, like once the Christmas decorations have come out and everything's extra sparkly in town. But because there's nobody's there, you're just like, I'm enjoying this magic all my own here at 9:00 at night because everybody's in bed.
And all the shops are closed.
But I can look in the window still of the South Cellars, which closed, 2 minutes ago.
Right.
And remember that
the
amazing...
sidewalks roll up at 9.
They do. Yeah. They totally do. It's like a cartoon. But they make this cider, this wine, like hot wine cider.
Interesting.
Like I think they make it with like, I want to say peach wine, but maybe that's just because we've had peach wine before. I can't remember, but they put mulling spices.
Peach wine is delicious.
They put mulling spices in red wine, basically. And it's sweet, but like not crazy sweet. And plus you could just have a tiny couple sips of it in a mug. And you just want to wrap a scarf around you. Because you have to. And then in the other room, there's this tiny tiki room that I'm pretty sure has some leopard print in it. Mm-hmm. And there's a stage. And then
as any good tiki room does.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a great stage, as probably any great tiki room does. I don't know for sure. But I'm like, I think like no more than 10 people could fit in here. So I'm really not sure why this happened. But anyway, maybe that's the rehearsal space.
That's cute.
Yeah. And on the wall always is playing... like Tiffany, don't forget the punchline. Swingers, the movie.
Gotcha.
Right? So
I love that movie.
Vince Vaughn and
Jon Favreau.
I love him. What's his diff? I don't know why I said that. Jon Favreau. Yes, you're amazing. I love you on the Tim Ferriss podcast interview. Was great, by the way. Yes, he's great. He's a director now. He does a lot of directing.
He does a lot of big important stuff.
He does, but it's like a lot of behind the scenes that we don't see. Yeah, anyway, so
and he's Tony Stark's bodyguard.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, he is. I forget about that. Plus, I mean, shout out for Tony Stark.
Right.
Yeah, I really like him. Anyway, that's playing. I just get like all nostalgic. You know what it was? Is when I was in high school, Swing Kids, the movie came out. And my world was broken open. And I was like, there's this marvelous thing called swing dancing and pinups and all these things that I had not learned about before.
Right after Zoot Suit Riot came out and was a hit.
Oh,
yeah.
with Cherry Pop and Daddies. Yes, I've been to their concerts. I think I have their autographs still. Yes. And you're like, this is I was born in the wrong era,
This is my 1997. Exactly what it was.
I was president of our newly established swing club at my high school.
Oh my God, I love it.
Actually, I was co-president because we all partnered up, so we had a dance partner and we were co-roles.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to, I want to say Zach, but I totally think that's the wrong name. Scott, gosh, I can't remember your last name. You know who you are, Riverside Poly High #1. Okay, had to get that out of the way. I was mascot also. Oh my
goodness.
All right, but I mean, high school did not beat preschool. Preschool by far has been my favorite school. Still,
I don't know that I remember before the age of 5.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had some severe memories from 2 on. So.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Sometimes I wish I did, but then I'm like, oh right, PTSD is warning me away from this. Cool.
Yay, my brain is saving me. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if we ever fully covered the glitter topic because I wanted to ask you.
Oh yeah, glitter.
One thing that I thought is to not drive other people in venues insane is to buy makeup that already has glitter in it. It kind of just wipes off mostly. You maybe have to wipe it off again the next day, but it's not getting on their things and furnishings and tapestries and whatnot. Does that work?
Generally, I try and show up to a venue hair and makeup ready.
Yeah.
That way I'm not having to hang out backstage. If I have body glitter or something that I want to put on, I'll do it outside, that kind of stuff. But if I do have the opportunity to actually put my face on, I don't use a whole lot of glitter. use glitter on my eyelids and glitter on my lips.
But I mean, like the built-in makeup where it's already built in.
It's
like
not
a
ever
gloss.
shiny
It's
enough.
not enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Your glasses are looking really awesome in this light. Yeah, they're totally shiny enough.
I'm pretty sure Electra Cosmetics, I think is their name, makes some really, really great glitter stuff that's built in and doesn't move.
I was reading in Joe Boob's Burlesque guide that if you don't want to buy craft glitter because it can be scratchy and be too harmful on your sensitive face skin and eyelid skin.
It is Electra Cosmetics.
Okay.
I saw it. ELEKTRA. And they're on Instagram as Electra_Cosmetics.
Thank you for the tip.
Of course. And they make some really great glitter. And they're just really great people. I met them at the Ohio Burlesque Festival, and they were just the sweetest people.
So shout out a couple more people you really like that you had mentioned to me, like for your corsets. You like a certain...
Oh, yeah. I love Orchard Corset. I've never had an issue with Orchard Corset, and their customer service is amazing. At one point, they accidentally sent me the wrong size, and they overnighted me the correct size at their cost.
Oh my God. What a joy.
And like included an envelope for me to send the other one back, and all that kind of stuff.
Like the way it should be, but seldom is.
Right. They're amazing. They're based out of Washington, and
the state of Washington?
Washington State. And they have great sales. They have leather corsets. They have like 3 or 4 different cuts of corset. They have corsets that are short for people that have short torsos. I have a long torso, so it can be difficult to find stuff.
It's the opposite difficult than I have.
Right. Yeah. Right. I can't wear jumpers because I can't ever find one to fit. It's like either my boobs are hanging out or my butt's hanging out. It's one of those like Meredith from The Office. Like I pull it down and like one of my tits falls out. That's me trying to wear a jumper. It's no good.
Just a little and suddenly it's a thong.
Yeah, suddenly like it's all the way up my ass. No, Orchard Corset is great. Sometimes I find some good stuff on Corset Story. Sometimes when I am feeling cheap, I'll go on eBay and make sure that I'm getting corsets with steel boning.
Steel boning.
Yeah, steel boning.
Emphasis on the steel boning.
Acrylic boning is crap. And will probably not last you more than 1 or 2 shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's good if you're not intending on breathing and not moving around.
The steel boning is good for that. Acrylic boning bends, and steel boning keeps its shape. So when the acrylic boning bends, it permanently bends in that position.
Ow.
Yeah, so if you're sitting down in your corset,
right,
your acrylic boning will bend the way that you are when you're sitting down. So you end up having these bones on either the side, just like poking you in the stomach and the ribs.
No.
It's no good.
No good.
It's good if like you need something for one night and you're planning on never wearing it again. It was an emergency
situation, so you got acrylic because that's what's available and cheap.
So, I mean, definitely spend a little bit of money on your corset because you're going to want to run that number a lot. If you're paying, $600 to $1,000 for a costume, I'm going to want to get my money back.
Yeah.
And so generally I try to keep my costumes at a cost that I know I can pay back within 6 to 8 performances. Okay. So that's kind of and that doesn't include the labor that I put into the costumes. I mean,
it sounds like,
all that kind of stuff.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Like took me 3 days to rhinestone a bra kind of stuff. Because, big tits, lots of rhinestones. And you got to put
surface area.
Yeah, big surface area. You got to cover it all.
Because of those damn blue laws.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they're pretty.
Right.
But
if you're going to sparkle, do it.
Do it.
Sparkle.
Just sparkle. In burlesque, you just need more than a sparkling personality. And, don't get me wrong, you can go out there in completely plain costuming, and if your number is captivating, your audience is captivating, you don't need the sparkles. The sparkles are just an added bonus.
I think they, amp the, intention and, energy of the audience, because the audience, you know, they don't know exactly probably what they're there to see if this is the first time, but, you know, boom, sparkle. They're like, oh, I'm at attention.
Right.
Right. Suddenly I need to know more.
and honestly, like the reflection of the light on rhinestones just makes you look like you're moving bigger than you are.
Cool.
Which is great.
Even black rhinestone will still have that like reflective quality.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can mix if you don't want to do all the jet rhinestone, you can mix it with the hematite, and so it has a little bit more of like a silvery hue, but it still looks black.
Yeah.
And that'll just give you more depth.
I was reading that black costumes are not necessarily the best choice because a lot of times you have a black backdrop, and then you like look like a floating head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's great. Cool. Like if you want to go for that, I'm like, oh, that's a special technique. But if I'm not going for that, then maybe I need to choose something else.
Yeah. I did a lot of black in the beginning of my burlesque career. And
black is great.
Yeah. And
in general, as a rule.
Yeah. And like I have a whole bunch of stuff at home and I'm broke. And so like I'm trying to make costumes out of whatever I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I end up using a lot of black items because I wear a lot of black.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly just in black.
I had myself, though, thinking yesterday to my husband and shouting aloud to nobody in particular, why the hell did I give away that fuchsia pink sequin switch hat? This burlesque thing is where I totally need it.
I love it.
Because it was sitting in my trunk for like 2 or 3 years. That's why I gave it away. You know? Yeah. And it probably cost 99 cents.
You have to do stuff like that. You just have to like throw it away. Sometimes, and if you end up needing it later, it's...
And you know what? Like,
it is what it is.
You probably almost never need whatever it is until you totally need that 1 or 2 things. And then you just get another one. And somebody else has been enjoying it the whole time. Right?
Speaking of a black costume on a black backdrop.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. She's showing me one where that's not you though, right?
That is me.
Oh, that is you. Uh-huh. Oh, very sassy. You're just like floating there with this beautiful white coat around your head.
I know. That was one of my favorite like faux fur coats, and I left it at a venue and I've never seen it since. Oh, no. But shit like that happens. Like you lose costume pieces or... one of the greatest pieces of advice I've ever heard came from Kitten DeVille, and Kitten DeVille actually lives in Riverside.
No way!
Yeah, she does classes occasionally in Riverside, performs around California.
Help me get on her list.
She's amazing. She's like one of the sweetest people I've ever met.
I was watching her recently.
Yeah? She's great. She's really great at like the very slow and deliberate like strut and peel, and I really appreciate that about her.
Because you don't have to necessarily put a bunch of like fast footwork in to still make an awesome number.
Exactly. So she said that you should always throw your costume items to the back of the stage instead of forward because people are going to keep your shit.
Wow. I never would have heard of that as like a reason. Like,
people keep your shit.
You might trip on it if you don't throw it forward enough. No, people steal
they
your shit.
steal your shit.
You are not tipping enough for that, people.
Like, I spent 7 hours rhinestoning this glove. I need it back, please.
Oh my god. That
so you end up
heartbreaking.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes you're just like, meh,
new
whatever.
To make something creative.
Yeah, because we're always in the midst of upgrading our costumes. We're in this like perpetual cycle of you create a number and then you spend like the next year and a half revamping the number and redoing parts of the costume that maybe don't work as well as you envisioned them to work.
Right. And you're like, I have no idea how to engineer that, but in my head it's so awesome.
Right. And sometimes that's really, that's all it takes. Is like you just have like one random thought and you're like, oh shit, I can make that work. And you end up completely redoing your costume.
Fun.
Yeah. I try not to think about things too much because then it makes me spend more money. I repair the stuff that needs to be repaired. I replace the stuff that needs to be replaced. And I try not to. Usually I'll go back and I'll add more rhinestones if I do anything.
Okay, can I share a quick story about Sparkle and Sadness?
Okay. Sparkle and Sadness is the name of my Boy George cover band.
Totally. We always pop open a bottle of some bubbly before the show. With a saber. I totally forgot the story now. Of course I totally forgot the story now. Okay, hold on. This is Performing Under the Influence. I Okay, sadness and sparkle. What was the sad? Oh, the sadness. Oh, yes. I'm in it again. Okay. Oh, Chad's life. If you're out there, by the way, reach out. I miss you.
This is my story about unrequited second grade love.
Okay, it's like 10th grade, okay?
Oh, okay.
Grade.
That's much better.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't like girls anymore, from what I might have gathered from the internet, but that's all I can tell. And we were really tight. So anyway, I miss you. You already know this because I wrote poems for you. You know this already.
Aww.
I know. My heart is breaking all over again. Okay, so one year, he went to SC and I went to UCI, our first years of school. That's where we were. I think we were at the same year and everything. And I'm totally not the sorority girl type, quote, whatever in my head was sorority girl, but I ended up pledging a sorority, and we had themed dances and whatnot.
Right.
And so I was like, I am going to be Jessica Rabbit. I think I had done this for Halloween already for West Hollywood when I was like 16. And I'm like, and then I'm in college and I'm like, I'm going to do it again. And Chad is going to be Eddie. So he wore like a trench coat and a hat, right? And I had this amazing Jessica Rabbit dress that I had sewn. Okay, I don't sew. I don't have a sewing machine. The sewing machine that my family owned was shit. But I took a class. And so basically it was a lady like guiding my hands through the sewing machine, right? But it was this beautiful fuchsia halter top dress with a slit up to my hip. And I had the purple gloves, so it was like a total cartoon. And I'm a redhead, so I had the like wave over thing going and the lipstick. And the inside was lined with purple. It was gorgeous. It was awesome. But the damn fabric, whatever it was, it would grow. So like every time you wear it, it would get longer, basically.
That's so
weird. Like stretch out. Yeah.
Like Jack and the Beanstalk fabric.
Yeah, but not in a way that like worked. It just totally didn't work for me. There was no magic bean.
Right.
Or maybe I should have explored it. But anyway, I did not find the magic bean at that time. And I was like, oh man, for years I moved around and I kept that dress in a bag and it kept moving from place to place. And then finally I was like holding it up and everything's loppy and nothing looks in the right shape. And I'm just like, I can't wear this again. Like, this is a beautiful piece of fabric, but why the hell am I holding on to it? It just makes me sad. That was the sadness part.
Use it for something else.
You would think I would have held on to it. I did not.
Oh,
again,
you didn't.
Tiny places.
That's okay.
You know, you have to
It's California. I get it.
It is. You gotta cull and cut things and go, this could have a better life somewhere else.
Exactly.
Hey, Mermaid, and any mermen and pirates who might be lurking around. Thank you so much for listening. If you've been enjoying the show, I'd love to invite you to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/peaceloveandwine. There you can find ways to support the show through our virtual tip jar / micro sponsorship and membership in the official Peace, Love, and Wine Club. You'll find different tiers with different benefits, such as getting your name in the show notes, getting a handwritten letter from yours truly, and getting a shout out on the podcast itself. Additionally, we are adding some fun tiers with my new Burlesque behind-the-scenes adventures where you'll get access to photos, blog posts, and videos that will not be shown to the general public. So, if any of that sounds like fun to you, if you've ever had a laugh or gained some wisdom or insight from the show, I'd appreciate if you could take the time to check us out over at Patreon and see if that's something that you might be open to participating in. As we get more founding patron members, we will add more fun things too. Possibly things like virtual happy hours where we meet virtually and enjoy a drink and conversation together. So I'm curious to hear what you'd like to see. You can always email me, info@peaceloveandwine.com. And again, check it out in the show notes, patreon.com/peaceloveandwine.